Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Unplugged. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. Whether you're joining us now or you're going to join us later, thank you very much. And I'd like to say a very special thank you to all of those who joined the Unplugged community on Facebook over the last couple of weeks. Thank you very, very much. We are packaging a few things that we know are going to be special for you. So please join, tell your friends, like our page, share, comment, and set your notifications to Unplugged and other products that they would have. Today, I am talking to a friend of mine and someone whose how would I say it? Whose opinions I value and experiences I respect in the marketing communications industry. Ima Abasi Esu. Ima Abasi is a business development specialist and a marketing strategist. She's going to tell us what all of these things mean, really. And she's really passionate about providing practical, creative solutions and strategic support to businesses. Ima Abasi has over 2 decades of experience in the marketing communications industry from both the agency and the client perspectives. And I believe this will give us a very unique perspective because she's going to give us a fuller perspective of how to look at brands and market brands. And she says, I quote her, that she has an unlimited view of possibilities and would love to be remembered as a creative and dependable. I don't know why that word is hard. It's not hard to say. It's just, I don't know why it's hard today to say. A creative and dependable marketing communication specialist who lives each day with gratitude, grit, and inner sunshine. Ima, I'm going to take you up on quite a bit of what the last part, the gratitude, the grit, and the inner sunshine, because you featured on one of our Inspire Me, Be Inspired sessions, and you said that people should learn to dance in the storm. Or was it dance in the rain? I'm not quite sure what
That's in
you
the rain.
said. Right? Okay. And dance in the rain. And somebody had asked, how are we going to do that? How do we do that? And so you'll tell us today, but not just now. You know. So welcome, Emma, and thank you again to everybody who's joined us. I'd like us to start with the basic definitions. What is business development and how does it relate to or differ from branding and marketing?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Julia, for that introduction. For business development, basically is taking your business, either an existing business or introducing something that is new and taking it from one level to the next. That's just the very basic um, that's the basic definition from my point of view, or what it's easy for lay people like myself as well to understand. When people hear yes, when people hear business development, they're like, oh, it's too big or too complex, or it's just only about big companies. And then I mean, it's about big companies, and but there's a whole lot of things that small cottage industries, SMEs can also take away from business development. And no matter how big you are, you still need to develop your business. And there are many ways and levels at which you develop your business. You can develop your business by looking inward, further improving on your product or your service, or you can add on additional businesses to the existing business, so diversification and other things. So there are different ways to develop a business.
Okay. So let's take, for instance, let me use an example not from this show so I don't get into any trouble. Like Chanel. Chanel started off with clothes, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then ended up with incredible fragrances. So would that be business development?
It's a form of development.
Okay.
Like like I said, there are different, let me say, angles from which you can develop, a business. Even and you can improve. You can start small and then improve upon what you already have. Like you gave an example of Chanel starting with clothes, but it wasn't just that. If you look at their overall, let me say, their overall strategy or goals was to, make women, or well, yeah, make women look and feel good about themselves, and that. So it started from there. So when you look at that, you now look at, is it just clothes? It's not just clothes. So there are other things. Like I said, when you want to develop your business, you can look inward to what the product that you have or service that you have. Okay, what else can I offer my customers? What else can I do? Give an example of like Coca-Cola. Since we're using, well, they're also local as well, but it's an international brand. But so, they offer Coke, and they offer soft drinks, they offer juices and other things. And what brought about that kind of development was them looking inward and saying, look, we want to be able to offer our customers. We've successfully marketed Coke, Sprite, and Fanta, and all the other brands, and giving them. But then, how do we get more? How do we get more business? How do we also satisfy our customers in other areas? Because they realize that that's not just what the customers consume. So they also start offering water, where they have different brands of water all over the world. They offer fruit juices and other kinds of sports drinks, different things, just to be relevant in the lives of the customers.
Okay. Okay. So would you say that business development is closely linked to your vision for your brand?
Yes, it's very closely linked to that, because like the examples I gave, there's a brand story, there's a brand, there's a business, there's needs that need to be fulfilled, and so therefore it is very closely linked.
So at Julia Jacks Consulting, a lot of what we do is working with SMEs, helping them build their brands so that they can become better versions of themselves and also scale up. So what should SMEs really, why should they invest in brand building and marketing strategy? Because it might seem a bit complicated. We'll probably go into that a little bit later, but why should the SMEs and I don't know, this is calling them cottage industries. I guess so. I guess those are the real micros. Yeah. Why should they
Mm,
invest in building brands and marketing strategies? It seems like a whole
Well,
lot of work.
nothing good comes easy. I'm sure most people would agree. Nothing good comes easy. You really do need to put in some work, but it should not deter you from um, building your business and doing the things that you need to do, to build your brand. Um, for the Please remind me about the question again. You said, what do SMEs need to do
Why,
to why do
why,
SMEs need to build their
why do,
brands?
yeah, and why do they need to develop marketing strategies?
Okay,
The why of brand development and marketing strategy.
okay, fine. Yeah, it's important to build a brand because, for one, a brand um, helps you get an emotional connection or get some kind of intangible results from your activities. For example, you have um, okay, sorry. Okay, so like I was saying, branding is very important for SMEs because it helps them stand out. It helps people to recognize their brands, either by visually or emotionally. If you experience even if it's a small business, you experience a good service, you will always want to go back to that good service. If you use a good product, you always want to go back to that good product. You're going to want to recommend to people as well and talk about it. Apart from talking about the weather, you might just talk about some fabulous isiewu that you ate at a joint somewhere. I know even on social media, you see people posting things like, if you're ever in this town, make sure you check out this place, something like that. And that's because the people have had good brand and good experiences with that particular service or product. So it's important for you to stand out. There's so many. I think there's some statistics that maybe we could refer to, like about the number of businesses that are registered on a daily basis in Nigeria, and the number of businesses that fail. It's the difference between going strong, going the long haul, and just being a flash in the pan. So it's important to build your brand. It's important to have a strategy. And when we talk about strategy, I don't know if you want me to go into that, but when because
Yes,
some
I'd
people
like you
hear
to
the word,
break it down. Yeah,
some people hear the
it
word
sounds scary.
strategy,
Yeah,
yes, and
yeah.
it's a big scary word, and they're like, oh, it sounds expensive. Oh, it sounds highfalutin and all that, but it's not. And basically, a strategy is a plan of action on what you want to do. You have a goal, and then you have a plan on how to achieve that goal. So that's basically what strategy is. So I hope that clarifies some of the mystic around branding and strategy.
Okay. So to build your brand, you must have a plan of action, and that includes your branding strategy and your marketing strategy.
Oh, yes. If you want to look at strategy just like in broad strokes, you can look
Yeah.
at the business strategy, operational strategy, and maybe a transformational strategy. And it depends on the level at which your business is. If you're starting up, you really do need to have a business strategy. Business strategy is simple. How do you want this service or this product that you have, how do you want to use it to make money and to serve, to provide a service and make money from it? It's not a charity, it's a business.
Okay. Okay. Now, let me, I want to share two experiences. Well, one is a personal experience. The other one is something you and I have discussed. We're always talking about about these
Yes,
things.
yes,
Um,
yes.
I remember when I did my youth service in Ilorin, and after camp, we all were sent to our places of primary deployment, and I had to go to market. But guess what? I couldn't speak the language, but I knew I had to buy tomatoes, tatache, onions, and everything. So I walked through the market. I knew I didn't want to go deep into the market. I'm not one of those people that likes gets a high from going to markets. So I didn't want to go too deep, and it was a muddy day. So wet day, so it was muddy everywhere. So I saw this lady smiling at me, an older lady, smiling at me. And I kind of looked behind in case she was smiling at someone behind me. And but she was smiling at me. And I liked the way her tomatoes, she displayed her tomatoes and everything. But it was the same everywhere else. But this lady was smiling at me. And this was me, a stranger. I didn't speak the language. And I felt welcome. And then I went there, and it turned out that she couldn't speak English either, not even a version of English. So we went through this charade of sign language, and I want this, I want this, I want this. And we finally got to that point where what we wanted was clear to each of us. And then she had to grind it because I didn't have a blender. I was copper, you know. I didn't have a blender at home, so I had to blend it there, grind it there. I'm sure you know this grinders they use in the markets, where they put all the vegetables or fruits in, and then they use a stick.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
okay, Maybe that was in my
No, I think
generation,
it's still used now. I
you
think
know.
it's still used now. Yeah.
I remember the color. It was blue, and it was
It
filthy.
some of them are still
And I,
blue, yes. Or used to be blue.
or used to be blue. And I said to her, I just said, like, I know the word for water, you know. I said, clean it, wash it. And the woman took one look at me, sent for someone, got a whole basin of water, washed everything clean, sparkling. And I'll tell you, I never went anywhere else. It turned out that anytime I was coming to the market, she'd send for someone who could speak a version of English, pidgin English, and she'd ask me, what do you want? The person would ask me, what do you want? So I would sit in one place, and the other person, but while Mama is grinding tomatoes and pepper and everything for me, the other person will help me do the rest of my shopping. So where is the brand there? This is as generic as it gets. This is as basic as it gets. Where is the brand? Where is the marketing? Where's the business? Where's the development? Because some of us operate at that very basic level.
Okay. Well, it's a generic brand. That's one. But you can see the development from when she met you, from how she pulled
Yes.
you in with her smile and
Yes.
her demeanor pulled you in, and she had the same goods as everybody else in the same row. That as giving your description, right? But it was neat. But see, she went the extra mile. She didn't complain, even though she may have given you one look, but she
She
washed
did.
the,
She gave me a
she
look.
satisfied you by washing the machine, and all that, and then grinding it for you and giving you that service. And then, as you said, subsequent times you had a good, a positive, let me say, user experience from that contact,
Absolutely.
and so you came back. So that guaranteed her repeat purchase. And then on top of that, while waiting, she now arranged for people to pick up the other things for you, which is an additional service. That's a form of development. And then again, you mentioned that she also she not only got other people to do that, she got people who could speak English to improve the communication so that you guys could bond better and understand each other better. And that made you more comfortable and made put you at ease. And I can almost bet that you didn't shop anywhere else till you finished
Never.
her. So you see, that is a form of development. So that's why I always tell people, don't, when people say development, it's don't look at the number of letters in that word and the number of syllables. Don't be intimidated by it. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's like building, having one positive user experience, building on that, reinforcing it with another one, and additional services, understanding your customers' needs. The woman was very savvy because she understood that, look, you're a stranger, you don't know anyone here. And if she made a good impression on you, you would likely come back. Not only would you come back, you'd also likely bring your friends who are also strangers to the, so, and that is a form of business development on a small, albeit small scale, but it is very quite impactful. I'm quite sure that it would help her to also get more customers. I'm sure she has her regular customers as well, but why was she smiling at you? Other people saw you, why did they not smile at you? I know you're pretty, but you're not like the Miss
I'm not that
World where
pretty.
you are. So that's a form of business development. And then that experience, look at, it's quite it has stuck with you since all this while, and I'm sure you've gone to
Absolutely.
different places. Yeah, so that's what you're looking at. And then again, um the tomato seller, she probably is not looking to expand and own the whole market and cover the whole square feet of the market with tomatoes and have her running things. sometimes it's okay if you just want to be small, but whatever you're doing, you do it well and you are consistent with it. And if you apply just, but sometimes it's just very basic instincts. Be nice, be personable, ensure that people will be able to come back to enjoy the same experience. And then, of course, imagine somebody like that, if she had to, if, and I mean, it's not impossible, if she had the vision to now have two or three other stores in the market, then that's also a form of development. And then she would also need to get people who would replicate this strategy. It's a strategy because, like how when you're learning to cook and all of that, and they tell you put this first, put that first, all that is a strategy, and you're absorbing it without even knowing. When you now start cooking and you want to show someone else, you also show the person the same way. So it's the same thing. It's just as easy as cooking soup. That's if cooking is your thing.
It's more your thing.
Yes,
I'd like to
absolutely.
just spend a minute and just quickly say hello to everybody who's here. You're all very special, very, very special to us. And I'd like to specially welcome my big sister, Ikwoma, as I call her. She's here with us. And I know we're going to get some questions on marketing from her. So thank you, Ikomba, thank you, Wamaka, thank you, Afion, thank you, Joan, thank you, Essien. And I can't see all the other names right now. I can't see the other names. But thank you, Tendai. Thank you very much. Yes. So let's dig in. Let's dig in a bit more. There's this whole thing about the marketing mix, and when I looked at it, some people say there are 4 components, there are 7 components. Can we keep it simple and say what are the key components of the marketing mix? What is the marketing mix, and why do we need? Is it part of the brand strategy?
Well, yes, it's very closely related to and an integral part of brand strategy. You need to understand the mix is how the mix is about how these components intersect and affect, your decision making and your goals and your plans and all the objectives that you want to do for your brand, your product, or your service. So keeping it very simple, because even with the additional P's, the original 4 P's are the first one is a product. So that's what you sell. So it's either a tangible product or it's a service, and then you have price, which is what you charge. And how does that impact, how your customers, view your brand? Because if it's pricey, they will look at it as, oh, this is a elitist brand, or if it's low price, okay, it's for everyone, so it also affects, the way your customers view your product or your service. And then we have place. So where do you promote these products? Where do where is it? It could be where physically, could be online or anywhere else. And then promotion, which is how do your customers find out about you? How do they get to interact with your product or your service? So and what are the strategies that you use to reach them, and how effective are they? So those are the things that are looked at in the marketing mix as relate to the 4 Ps.
Okay, I think we'll have to come back and do a very deep dive into the 4 Ps.
And the others and its cousins.
And and its cousins. I think there are quite a few of them. They've grown incredibly,
Yep.
But all of these are relevant to, if you can talk us through very quickly, or maybe I should ask, because we got some questions which might help um, how do I call it now, roots these peas in reality, because I like to keep it real, you know. Um, One of the questions we got is, are there rules are the rules of marketing different for physical products, services, and digital products? Are the rules of marketing, do these components of the marketing mix hold true for whether it's a physical product? And if you could give an example, um, an intangible like a service, like what we're doing here, and digital products.
Mhm. So the question is, if I understand right, is whether the marketing mix, the rules of the marketing mix apply to the say are applicable to both um, um, digital and um, tangible products.
And intangibles.
Okay, okay. Basically, it does because I just explained. I just talked about the four P's. You know, the pricing, but the impact and the impact of it is can be viewed from different points of view. It depends on the service. It depends on the product. It depends on the audience as well. I mean, if your audience is not digital savvy, and then you're going to put your communication or whatever you want to do, any activity on the digital, you're going to lose them. You're going to misfire. Just be wasting money. So it all really depends on the product. It depends on the audience, and how well you know the audience. Um, you know, Another aspect of this is the market research, which is another big word that some SMEs, at least from my experience talking to them, they're like, please, I don't want to do anything about research, please. I don't know. But you really need that information because it is really the difference between whether you're made or you're broken, at the end of the day, or how long you can stay in business. People's needs are changing by the day. Either their needs, actual needs, like to fulfill their existence, and then also media needs, different needs. It's changing. It's so dynamic that it is important to keep a pulse on that. Know what it is. It doesn't mean that every wind of doctrine or anything that you hear, you're going to run to it, but at least know what's happening, and then be intentional about about your decisions, what you do, what you decide to do with your brand. I'll go back to the tomato woman in Ilori. I mean, maybe people are also still expanding and all of that, but she has decided, look, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to dig in and do it well, and even if everybody else is opening 2 3 centers across different markets, or wanting to be some kind of market leader, or the um, um, home brand of tomatoes, she has decided that this is how she's going to do it, and whatever she's going to do, she's going to do it well. But it doesn't mean that she's not aware of that. If it's different, if she's not aware of it and it just catches her unaware, then she probably would just be in proper danger, because the advantage of being aware helps you to also tweak your strategy, to also do more. So your development may not be physical expansion, but would be digging in deeper, offering deeper service. Maybe even start to ask your customers for other things that you can do relating to maybe your business, your tomatoes or whatever. Oh, do you want me to be delivering it to your house? Should I do this? Or, you don't have to be coming all the time. If they notice that you stop coming, I have some people like that ask me, don't worry yourself, just send me I'll send it to you. So it all depends. And all these decisions are taken based on information, and the information is gathered by some kind of research, whether it's formal or informal, but they got to know that maybe I'm too busy and I don't come as frequently and they want to also sell. So they're like, okay, I'll bring it to you. So it really depends on the nature of the business that you're doing and or the service that you're rendering.
So by and large, you have to stay sensitive to your customers' needs, changing needs, because they're changing, and change as best as you can along with them, but perhaps not
Mm-hmm.
follow them everywhere.
Let me give you one
Okay.
example that might throw some light on that. You know, there was a time when beverages were just sold only in bottles, only in bottles, and um,
Yeah, I'm old enough to know that one.
well, some people listening may not really know that, but okay. So remember when it was only sold in bottles, then we graduated to okay plastics, the PET
Yeah.
bottles and things like that. That was based on the state, and then now with sustainability becoming a big deal with a lot of customers, now we're going full circle back to bottles, reusable bottles and all of that to help save the planet, and stuff like that. So um, it doesn't mean that it's keeping a pulse on what's going on in your industry and what the customers want. And now we have the aluminum cans as well. I know there was a time when there was people did not believe that you could sell malt in plastic bottles because for some reason, some people felt, oh, that it would change the
Tastes
flavor or
different.
change the heart. So, but now we have malt brands, almost all the leading malt brands. In fact, if you want to play in that market, you have to be in all the SKUs that are available, or else you're going
Yes.
to lose out. As they say, if you snooze, you lose. So,
And what is a skill?
is this sorry, SKU is the stock keeping unit. Sorry for using
Okay.
that term, but it's a stock keeping unit. So if you have Coke in a bottle, that's one stock keeping unit. If you have it in a plastic bottle, it's another stock keeping unit. If you have it in a sachet, it's another, so those are what they call SKUs.
Skills. Okay. That's SKUs, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. And another question we got is in marketing, does size matter? Does the size of the business matter? Or is it the size of the vision that matters? Which one matters more?
There's one quote. I think you are the one that told me about this quote for the first time I heard it was about it's not about the size of the dog, but the size of the fight in the dog.
Right.
So I kind of feel that um, that kind of applies to answering that question. Um, it's a little bit broad, so not as specific as I mean for me to really understand, but in that broad sense, I don't think it matters. I think what matters is that you are doing marketing. You are marketing your products and marketing it in the right channel, in the right place, at the right time, to the right people, and you're doing all that you need to do. So, but if you're, I'm not really clear about the angle from which that question is
Okay.
coming from.
Okay. Let me seek to clarify a bit. I suspect the person who asked this question was coming from the perspective of I don't have money. You know, that's something that we hear over and over again. It depends on how they look at themselves as small. I mean, you could be small, but you're not looking at yourself as how you're starting off. You're looking at the end. So you're beginning with the end in mind. Like, yeah, I'm small, but you know what? You come into my small unit, and maybe I should even give you an example. Not to mention, but let me mention this. My dentist, been my dentist for years, and Shub's dental clinic, and they started off in, I think, Apapa,
Mhm.
in the office, yeah, close to the office, walking distance. And he was so good that even when I moved to Port Harcourt, relocated to another town, I would get on a plane and go see him. And last year, when I had to have an extraction, I couldn't get on the plane to go see him because there was lockdown and all kinds of things. I mean, it was a very traumatic experience for me because from the minute you step in, and he started small, but now he has, I think, about 3 other locations. But he
Mhm.
started in a small space. But you come in, everywhere is clean, everywhere is organized, the structure. And this is just to show, I think, I don't know if he was deliberately or intentionally marketing, but perhaps some of these things can be intuitive. What do you think? Because wherever he is, I would look for him. I told him, well, I better die before you because I'll be looking for you until I'm really old, you know.
Okay. Um, well, you mentioned dentists. For me, the medical, well, if those kind of specialized services are very sensitive and requires a high level of trust from their clients, and I believe that he already like knows that, which when he set up his business, almost any doctor will let you know that bedside manner it's important. Um, Apart from graduating top of class in medical class and
Mean
all, or
nothing
medical
to
school,
me.
or not. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. If that is taken, and let me say that's taken for granted, that that's what the Nigerian Medical Association or Medical Board, that's their job. You're a doctor, you're in front of me. So when I interact with you or I interface with you, I want to be reassured. I want to be in a clean environment. I don't want to feel like I'm going to be sick by coming to your hospital, or sicker, when I walk into your facility. So I think he's taken all of that measure, because there are still some hospitals you say, is that really a hospital? Like, really? Um, but they can, like I said, it's a specialized service. It's like what do you call it? Emergency. It's like you can't do without having a hospital or a doctor or something. If you're
Yeah.
sick, you need to see a doctor. You can't go and see a butcher or anybody else. You have to see a doctor. So, but um, I want to say that you're raising your eyebrows. I want to say that you had a positive first experience and subsequent ones, which led you to make a repeat interface. And from that repeat interface, he kept building on it, reinforcing that positive experience. And I'm sure that maybe one or two times you may have been disappointed, once or twice or something, but you made excuses for it, you know? No, you're thinking about it.
No,
No,
I'm thinking
you've
about it.
not.
No, I
I'm not talking
haven't.
about this
I
particular
haven't.
way. Okay,
Oh
I'm
yes,
going to say,
I
I'm
have.
saying,
I have, but it wasn't. It wasn't with him. It
uh,
was. It wasn't with the service itself. It was with the all the some of the indefinables that make up the experience. You know, but I could shrug
like,
it off because it
like,
was.
like, like what?
Um,
Like scheduling
la- like
or what?
scheduling.
Okay.
It
So you
was,
see, that's
yes.
the point. That's the point I'm trying to make. You see, now it's a big deal. It's still part of that brand. However, you have excused it mentally, because you've had so many positively reinforced experiences that that little slip up doesn't matter. And it happens, you see it even in big brands and in small brands as well. So a brand can mess up and still, they apologize and the public forgives them. And instead of losing business, they are endeared to people more because they feel like, oh, I mean, anybody can make a slight mistake. Okay, they make excuses here and there. There's also the flip side to that as well. I mean, as a big brand, I mean, um, you can be sued, for depending on the kind of service and the kind of slip up. But generally, people tend to make excuses. I was telling you about my experience with my bank. I'm not going to mention their name.
Yeah. No, you
I
shall
know.
not mention their name.
No. But I mean, for me, it's the best bank in the whole wide world, right? I've had positive experience and super negative experiences. But I made that excuse. As in, I was laughing at myself when I thought about it. When I thought back, I was like, look at you making excuses for them when you should be calling them out and demanding proper, But they also they went the extra mile. My account officer called to apologize. Some high level somebody that I never even knew called and introduced themselves and, and said, hey, I heard about this happened, Susan. So I'm so sorry. I'm this, and and I forgave them and I moved on. But will I still say it's the best brand in the whole world? Yes, I will. I've had a few slip ups here and there, but I will still say that because that's when a brand has gone beyond just being a product or a service. It's a brand. I have a relationship with it. When they say you throw out the baby and the bathwater, no, I will just own that bathwater with the baby. Like, I won't throw it out. So that's the way people react to to good when they get a good service or a good product. You always tell somebody about a good movie that you watched. You always tell somebody about those what they those mouth word of mouth
Word of mouth.
yes, propagation of your brand is priceless, so it's very important to do the necessary things. Just pull back a little bit, have an intentional plan. Don't just go with the flow, because there will be flows and there will be ebbs. Then what do when you have an ebb? you know so it's important to take time to make a plan.
Okay, so we have on the platform people who are running businesses, different types of business. Some are e-commerce, some are publishers, some fabric, some sell what is this wellness sense, aromatherapy. Yes, that's the word for it. And all of them, what I hear is, if I go back to the marketing mix, it's like look at your
Okay.
product and never stop developing your product. Right? Never stop looking at it inside. What better? How better can I offer this product? Look at your price. You know, I wouldn't
I
suggest
kind of I
anybody to
kind of
play the
lost you
price
there. I
war. It's
lost you
not a
there a
war
little
that many
bit.
people can. Oh, okay,
I lost
okay.
you
Where
there
where where did you stop?
when you said let's go back to the marketing
Can
mix
you hear
and
me
look
now?
in. I can hear you better now. Yes.
Okay. All right. So for everybody, you should take a look at your product, take a look
Yes.
at your pricing, look at the place. I mean, and then the promotion, right? That would
Yes.
make up the strategy. That would all fit into the plan.
Yes. It would fit into your plan. Yes.
And take time to keep looking at it over and again, even if it's working. Take time to
Yes.
reinvent the wheel.
Especially when it's working. Look at why is it working, and then if it's working, and if this is the reason why it's working, then what else can I do to make it better, or can I add on to this, or just find out, even from their own perspective, what is making it work. What do you like about my get feedback from your customers, because feedback is priceless. It helps you to mold and shape the future of your business and the future of what you intend to do in that space, or if you want to even leave that space and go to another space that might even be better for you. I mean, all this comes with information, and the
But
information
remember, see,
comes from.
how do you get feedback? How do you get? I'm
Oh,
busy. I'm an SME. I'm the one who is creating the product, marketing the product, doing everything. How do I now add this?
okay, the first thing I will ask is, okay, how did you come about creating the product? What made
Okay,
you
say I answer
create
that.
what? It's from your answer. I will now know how to answer you now, or
Okay,
to
okay,
advise. But okay,
okay,
so
okay.
yeah,
Let's keep it real and say, okay, everybody was baking, and I could bake too. I learned how to bake during the lockdown when, yeah, last year. So I just decided, okay, let me bake as well. So that's why I
okay.
started.
So you started
I can't
baking,
bake.
and
I can't bake.
I know this is a hypothetical. This is
Yes.
hypothetically speaking that you started baking. I know you can bake. Okay. So now, at the end of the day, you during the lockdown, you had time, and so you learned how to bake. And now you started baking, and you were making some some money through that, right? You started. You now saw it as, oh, maybe I can go into this. So before you even start, before you start the expansion activities, because right now you're doing it small, whatever, but understand what is this product. Is it a seasonal thing? Are there times, are there highs and lows in the, when people really need it or when people don't need it? And in what is the price that people will see it? Am I in a highbrow area? Can I charge, a large amount? Or how do I have access to even supplies, the things I use to make the products, and all of that. So there's a lot of things that you need to consider. You may not sit down and look at it like step by step like this, but it's all swirling around in your head. Like, I want to, okay, so I'm going to charge this price. How do you price? Um, how do people get to know about it? Everybody's using social media. Okay, how can I use social media? Is it okay for me to use social media? My clientele, is this where I would reach them most? Is this where they'll be most receptive to on knowing more about the things that I'm doing and what else is to come from my stable? Um, and then um, I just want people to know me. How they get to know me? So your what about funding? There's so many things that you are thinking about, and how do you develop this? If I were the one and I accidentally started a business from the lockdown, I would say, okay, good, but I would sit down and really write out my goal. What is my vision? What do I want to do with my? Is it just cakes I want to bake? It's a baking business, but is it just cakes I want to bake? How do I position myself? Who is baking around me? You know, who are the people, even the customers? Because you said you had sold some cakes during the lockdown, why not just find out from those customers who bought from you, um, get feedback from them. I patronized a lot of businesses during the lockdown, and a lot of them sent me, they'll send me one, oh, how was it? How was your experience? Can you give me a review? Can you help me talk about if you had a good experience? Can you talk about it? If not, if it was a bad experience, still tell me. And most times, you know me now because I can be a bit like of a first spot, according to my friend Tome. So I, if I didn't get a good experience, I would give them the feedback, honest feedback. There was a lady that, this thing that on social media, this trend of what I ordered and what I got.
Got, yeah.
I fell victim to that a lot. But a few of them, a few of them got back to me, and only one of the ladies actually took my feedback as constructive. The other one just abused me and said I was not supporting small businesses. But
Women
the one
supporting
that took my
women.
feedback, now, you're a fellow woman, you didn't support me. But okay. So I just told her, look, I believe you touted your ability to do this XYZ. And this is exactly what I asked you. And even when I placed the order, I told you, I gave you the liberty to choose what you would do with what I wanted. And you insisted I should give you something. So I did. And then what I ordered is this, and this is what you gave me. Please, my dear, go back. Go back to your sewing school. Learn how to, you know, don't laugh. Learn, finish your training. If you had told me that um, I'm not done with my training, but I'm confident in then I know what I would give you. I won't give you a very expensive fabric. I would probably give you something else or let you use something and just do it for me, and I will move on. But then you were going on how you sew wedding dresses. I told her, don't ever collect a job for a wedding gown with this level of skill. You need to upgrade that skill. You need, if not, you're going to find yourself in the police station with somebody's wedding gown, So it all depends. So that's how you get the feedback. Because you're small. You started small, so you have a few customers at least. So get the feedback from those customers. Get honest feedback from them. And Nigerians, my fellow Nigerians, they are fond of not wanting to give that feedback because they don't want to hurt you. But the
Not
truth
all
of the
of
matter
us.
is that, Julia, you're in the minority. I tell you, rip off the band-aid, give honest feedback, receive honest feedback, and use it and build on it. So, like in the case of that lady, all she needed to do was to go back and upgrade her skill. So I've met her again, and she told me she has done it, and she sent me a picture of something that she actually made. So she's in the process of making something for me now. I keep my fingers crossed and
First.
hope for that.
Ima, we have barely 10 minutes left, and there's a bit more I'd like to get into. But what I hear you say is don't oversell, because that
Mm,
goes straight to your personal reputation and the reputation of your brand,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
intentionally get honest feedback. And all of this will go into your marketing and building of your brand.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
Okay. We have Mwamaka Kentebe, who has joined us here, and
Okay.
she. I, okay, I'm just gonna read it out as it is. She says she's trying to find complementary services for her frozen food business, and her customers are typically busy men and women. Now, I don't know if that is frozen, natural foods, or cooked
Yes, yes.
foods, etc. So, I mean, it's all food, but we have to also be specific.
Okay.
Well, Maka, maybe you could reach us later. You can always reach us on Facebook or on Instagram at Julia Jacks Consulting, Facebook or Instagram, Julia Jacks Consulting. So if you ask this question, we will trouble it for you thereafter. You know. Oh, she does frozen meat and chicken and complimentary services. Okay, I think we will have to talk to you after
Let's
this,
take it
and then
offline.
yeah, we'll take this offline. Because what I'd like to talk about now is grit and dancing in the rain. Um, grit. Grit is okay. Geraldine says she's a fan of feedback, and that her experience with sellers of goods and services so far is that they are allergic. That's a strong word to honest,
Hmm.
polite feedback. Some even turn abusive. So I take my money elsewhere. Yes, yes. I mean,
Yes.
Lulu had said, our guest last week had said, you, the brand owner, you're just the custodian or the
Absolutely.
caretaker. The real owner of the brand is the customer. You know, I've had those kind of. I mean, the customers always vote with their wallets, so you'll know whether you're doing well or not. You know. So, what does great mean to you? What's your own definition of great?
Well, I believe I see grit as more of pursuing my passion and the ability to persist after setbacks, and or success.
Pursuits after setback is all success.
Yes.
Because it does take grit when you're doing well. It does take grit to say, you know what, I'm not just going to rest on my laurels. I mean, despite the number of people who are handing me my gallons right now, I'm going to say I'm not satisfied. You know,
Absolutely.
let's do more.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's that eagerness to just keep on keeping on, you know, regardless of the setbacks. You know, things
More
may not go
success.
according to how you planned. Yes, you know, things may not go as you planned. And that not going as you planned doesn't have to be negative. You could actually could be wildly successful.
I think
So it's how,
success is a big problem. Can be a big
yes,
problem too.
it can be a
Yes.
problem. Yes, it can lead to complacency, and then it will lead to failure, and then that would be even worse. But then with grit, you can go through all those motions. You can go through everything. Success, the setbacks, you keep going.
So to a large
That's what
extent,
grit
it
is
means
to me.
staying in your lane, stay focused on who you
Yes,
are.
keep keeping on, you know.
Keeping
Keep
on.
keeping on, regardless of what's going on around you. Just keep on keeping on.
Okay. So in the dying minutes of Unplugged, I've so enjoyed myself. You know,
Me
I hope you have
too.
too.
I have.
So I'd ask, can you give our viewers, our listeners, four tips? Four tips. I mean, I think this generation calls them hacks. I'm still having conversations with my daughter about how tips became hacks, but then she's a teenager, so they speak a different language, you know. So, four tips or four hacks for marketing your business, your brand successfully.
Okay. So the first thing I would like to say successfully market your brand is put in the hard work, pull back, think, plan. Um, you know, I mean, it sounds cliche, but really, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's the truth. You need to plan. Make a plan. It may not always go according to that plan, but at least there was a plan in place. There's a center. Oh, sorry, I'm going into my fitness, but at least
Yeah.
there's a center. So you're going like this, and then you come back to your center. Mhm. So that plan is central, is integral to your success, you know. And then also um, try to um, try not to do too much at a time. So like the first, I think you mentioned the focus, focus on what you know to do, and what you really can do, or you can do that can bring value to the customer. Focus on that, and don't try to be everything to everyone, because there's so many people out there still also trying to do different things. Then develop grades. Develop grade. There are many ways. There are different ways to develop grade, and it's not talent. It's really about having a goal, you know, that you really care about, you know, and um, that goal that you really care about. Then you organize around it, give it some meaning, you know, in everything that you do. So it's not an esoteric word. Embrace it. Find out about how there's so many different examples of people that have developed grades, you know. So have grades. And then don't be afraid to start over. If you always review, keep a pulse on your business. So don't be afraid to start over. If you have to start over, or if you cannot even remember why you started, then it's actually time for you to start over, and
Okay.
then find a why, and then start over from there. You know, so don't be afraid to to start. It's not a sign of failure, but just start over if you have to. Push yourself. That's what
Thank
I
you
can
very
say.
much, Ima.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's so much more I would love to get into, but I think we can do a deep dive on this on another session, and then we will take very specific questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nwamaka's is it Nwamaka's question. Then we can take those very specific questions, and we'll take them perhaps in a different session, because we can't do all of that on Unplugged. So please,
Unplugged.
if you do have questions, send them to us on our Facebook page or our Instagram page um, at Julia Jacks Consulting. And you can catch up on this if you haven't watched it today, you're not watching it live, you can catch it up. It will be up on our YouTube channel before the end of the day. And you can see all our previous sessions of Unplugged on YouTube. It's all there. Ima, thank you very much, and thank you everybody
You're very welcome.
who stopped
Thank
by
you.
to hang out with us. Ima, thank you. We need to. We
Thank
we
you.
didn't talk about Asupo and his beer parlor and the other
Don't
guy.
worry, another session.
Yes.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about
So, guys,
that.
if you have your very specific questions about the business line of business you are in, please let us know, and let us know if you would like a one-on-one consultation, or we'll take you all in a class with Ima Abasi as well. Thank you for stopping by, and Ima, take care of yourself. Look forward to
Thank
seeing
you.
you soon.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye for
Bye. Bye,
now.
everyone. Bye for now.